Hi, everybody. Welcome to No Story is Sacred. If you've never listened before, basically we're four siblings who grew up talking about the art of storytelling. Now that we're adults, we're still talking about it, and we're inviting you to join the conversation. And I'm Pippin of the USS Enterprise.
I'm Alex, and I've grown my beard.
I'm Kat, and I am an artificial life form.
And I'm Brendan, and I think all Star Trek engineers are the best characters.
Wow.
Wait, is the chief of engineering actually a main character in this series? I thought O'Brien was just transport
O'Brien
ops.
is a transporter op. Are you forgetting our Lord and Savior, Geordi LaForge?
I thought it was Helms.
Oh shit, is he Helm?
No, Geordi works engineering.
Yeah, I thought so.
I think it's just like he sometimes works the bridge because reasons. I'm not much of a TNG type person, but why are we talking about TNG in the first place, Pippin?
Alright, so today, you guys, today we're talking about the first episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, Encounter at Farpoint.
First two episodes, part 1 and 2. Sorry, go on.
So, spoilers for pretty much all of Star Trek, probably.
Oh, yeah.
If you want other specific content warnings about things that we may talk about, check out the show notes on nostoriessacred.com. For those of you who haven't seen the episode, or episodes, even though I'm fairly certain you have to watch it in one go, you can't get them separate, but whatever. It's just one really long episode. Anyway, for those of you who haven't seen the episode, the summary from the Star Trek Wiki, Memory Alpha, is: Captain Jean-Luc Picard leads the crew of the USS Enterprise D on its maiden voyage to examine a new planetary station for trade with the Federation. On the way, they encounter Q, an omnipotent extra-dimensional being who challenges humanity as a barbaric, inferior species. Picard and his new crew must hold off Q's challenge and solve the puzzle of Farpoint Station on Deneb 4, a base that is far more than it seems to be.
It's a transformer.
It is a transformer. That'd be super cool, actually.
More than meets the eye. So, Pip.
Yes.
Are you saying that Q wants the D?
Wow. And I wasn't even the one to make that joke.
Picard D? Yes.
Wow.
I went there.
And Kat is speechless.
I am speechless.
Are you saying that you wanted the D joke?
You know what? I'll say it. I'm into Q.
Who's surprised?
Q's fun.
And you know
He's
what?
a fun
And unfortunately,
character.
this has translated to me being also into Discord from My Little Pony, for which I can only blame the fact that I have children.
Really?
Well, at least you had that excuse.
Yeah.
I have that excuse
fair.
for watching. Discord is the greatest fucking character in the world. With the exception possibly of Pinkie Pie, and I will stand by that.
For those listening at home who aren't familiar with My Little Pony, Discord is also voiced by John Delancey.
Who plays
Q?
And actually,
Yes.
he was based, Discord was based on the character of Q. The authors of, the writers of My Little Pony, wanted to have a Q-like character, and they thought, wouldn't it be hilarious if we could get John Delancey? And apparently he wasn't busy.
Apparently John Delancey agreed.
And then they actually added more Q stuff to Discord to just highlight it.
At that
They're
point,
like,
you
well,
have
fuck
to.
it, we have John Delancey, let's go all the way.
So are you saying that Q is actually a dragon?
Discord is not a dragon. Thank you.
You know what? I think we're getting off track.
Yeah, let's get back. Let's steer the Enterprise back towards Farpoint Station here.
Ooh.
No, we were on the bridge section, and we merely separated the.
Okay, by the way, what bullshit is that?
I know. Okay.
The battle bridge.
Can anybody who is paying perhaps more attention than me, because this bored the shit out of me, give a more thorough rundown than what Memory Alpha provided, so that maybe the listening audience can follow along with, I think, Pip's very valid criticism.
Oh, it's 100% valid. It's weird. So we have the Enterprise D, brand spanking new ship. We have the D. Brand spanking new ship.
It's a pretty big D.
Chock full of families for no clear reason aside from, I guess...
It's an ambassador ship.
I guess.
I don't know.
To unknown space with all sorts of
Is
weird
it
unknown
though?
hazards.
Is it supposed to be unknown?
yeah.
I always thought it was supposed to be like, this is the next generation of just chilling out in the alpha fucking quadrant.
In the premise of the first episode here, they are about to embark onto a section of space that is previously unexplored.
Okay, that is stupid. Never mind.
Yes.
Because Q was all like, what you doing coming out this far in space? And
Eh?
at that point I was all like, but there are already people on the other end of where they're going, Q. What are you doing?
He had other things to do with his life. Or did
He's
he?
omnipotent. He could have messed with all of them.
Well, yeah, but
He should have already known the answer.
are Q as a species, are they, I know they're supposed to be theoretically omnipotent. Are they also, omnipresent?
No, I think I think they can stretch their awareness out pretty far if they wanted to, but I think they're fairly local, if only because a majority of them seem to be totally egotistical.
Oh, I thought omnipresent meant,
aware of everything.
or
That's
no.
omniscient.
No. I
Omniscient,
thought
yeah.
omnipresent was that they existed outside time.
Oh, yes.
They do?
I think so. Yeah, they can go back to the Big Bang if they
In
wanted
which?
to.
Oh, that's right.
In Voyager Up, he actually shows Janeway what time it looks like to a Q. It ended up being a stretch of desert town.
Well, that's what our puny human minds could comprehend. It was as close to.
Of course.
Sorry, go on.
So they're heading out to unknown space with the families, arg, and at that point, for whatever reason, this supremely powerful being, Q, intercepts them and teleports like Picard and Troy and Tasha Yar and Data to a trial?
Well,
First...
No, it's not just any trial. It is actually to a specific point in time, in Earth history.
It's a recreation of it.
I thought it was the actual thing, but I thought it was more like an alternate dimension version of it.
No, it's after us, but before Federation.
So the time period that they're simulating was the post-atomic horror, which seemed pretty cool.
Here's the thing. Seemed pretty cool, but at that point, because I had no context for this apparent part of history, air quotes, I had no emotional investment.
Of course not, no.
Well, remember they talked about it when they're like, oh yes, humans, and that time when we were all, addicted to drugs. And I'm like, you mean like the Jem'Hadar later?
Deep Space Nine, deep cut.
I got what they were trying to do to establish that there was history after us, where we were still shitty people, but who's surprised? And then there's the Federation after that.
It's like we had to have shit hit the fan, and then we got our act together. Yay.
But, like I said, I wasn't emotionally involved. I was like, I don't care about what's happening right now. Basically, the whole first half of the episode, I was like, eh.
Although...
And you're emotionally involved in the second half?
More so.
Well, here's the curious thing. As a little bit of research into this, I loaded up an episode of Mission Log, which is a Star Trek podcast.
Nerd.
Yes. But I learned through that podcast that the pilot episode wasn't supposed to involve Q at all.
He was the only good part.
As originally written. Well,
that explains why it's two separate plots.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The entire Q subplot was added on to expand the time of the pilot episode.
Which is too bad because honestly, the best acting and most interesting part of the show, of the episode, was those few brief moments when Patrick Stewart and John Delancey are yelling at each other. That was actually, fantastic. But it probably would have been better if it had been the point as opposed to a tag on.
Guess what?
What?
I disagree with you.
First of all,
Oh, snap.
how dare you?
I think the episode would have been better if they just dropped Q. For one thing, that is a big thing to, sort of lead with.
Well, I'm of two minds. I thought the execution of Q was a little bit on the silly side, which for an omnipotent being judging humanity seemed it seemed like an odd choice.
Well, his costume choices were not the greatest.
Yeah. But on the other hand, what I thought was an interesting point is that this allows you to have a nice narrative bookend from the beginning of the series to the end, where it's like, oh yeah, we've been judging you this entire time, which I believe is exactly what they did.
Well, they could have made any sort of narrative bookend, to be fair. Like, the space whales
True.
could have come back and saved the day because they remembered how they were saved, blah, blah, blah.
But anyway, moving right along with just a quick description of the episode. They have this quick trial. It's like a kangaroo court. It's bizarre and
This is a kangaroo court.
So bizarre.
oh my god, that'd be great.
There was some nice use of camera work and angles
That's true.
when they really got up into each other's faces.
Yeah.
But that was an isolated incident of goodness.
Also, before we move on, I thought it was a little silly that Q is like going on judging humanity when half the people that he's judging in the trial are A, a betazoid, and B, an android.
Good point.
Was he judging humans?
I am judging
or...
humanity and friends.
Was he judging humans or was he judging mortals? Had they actually developed what and who Q really was yet?
At that point, no.
I thought it was just judging Federation.
Might be. It would have been better if he said the Federation. They could have called them a bunch of hypocrites. Could have been interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coulda. Maybe we'll talk about that more in a few minutes
Okay,
here.
but keep going.
So, Patrick Stewart, Jean-Luc Picard, in typical Picard fashion, insists on having a test to see whether or not humanity is worthy to continue exploring. And so that leads us to the original episode, which is this encounter at Farpoint, which seems like a weird test. The briefest explanation for this is that it's a mysterious station that got built in like record time, and
Has everything you need. Or
Yeah.
want.
Instantly, really.
Weird.
you just think about it. Boom,
And
there.
somehow
Cool.
we're like, given to believe that that's a problem.
Well, if you're getting it without any explanation,
It's freaking weird.
This is true.
listen, when apples appear out of nowhere, I'm like, who's trying to steal my soul?
True.
Well, and also,
I feel like this is reasonable.
All this weird stuff's happening to the remainder of the Enterprise officers that were currently on Deneb 4. Riker, the first officer, Geordi LaForge, the engineer, who is the most metal person on the show. That I missed this the first time I watched it, however many years ago, where it's like, oh yeah, my eye implant, it hurts all the time.
Oh, yeah,
no, I
Geordi-
don't want drugs. No, I don't want surgery.
Jordan DeForge had chronic pain.
yeah, he lived with chronic pain, and that's amazing.
And he's still just doing his job, because you know what? Fuck everyone else.
Yep.
Also, I feel like he was actually the best acting.
Oh, legit.
Yeah.
LeVar Burton, knocking it out of the park. I'm like, yeah, go you.
By the way, LeVar Burton, this is an invitation for you to join us at any time on No Story is Sacred.
You can't disappoint a picture.
You beat me to it, Pep.
A+.
I'm sorry.
A+.
Now, and also the other officer on Deneb 4 is Dr. Crusher.
Woo!
And her son, Wesley.
Who is so much more bitchy in, like, the first episode than I realized. I'm kind
Well,
like, I
be
spent...
fair, he's a teenager.
No, no, I'm like more like, you know, Beverly Crusher is about ready to like crush everyone's nuts.
Oh, yeah.
I love her. I actually, with the exception of the Beta Z, I was busy being in love with all the women on this show. Tasha Yar.
I saw Tasha Yar. I didn't even know who she was yet. I just saw her and I was like, I'm in love with her.
Yeah.
And then I found out she was Tasha Yar. I was like, oh, I think I'm supposed to know who that is.
But later on, she does fall in love with, or something, with Data. And I'm like, I also see that.
Fully functional and anatomically correct.
Hell yeah. And I'm like, this is clearly a precursor to me and my, like, huge affection for the Doctor on Voyager. So, Tasha Yar, me, we are soulmates.
But yeah,
Brendan's
anyway,
please change this.
sorry, I'm trying to keep us on top of things.
Yeah. Who here thought that Wesley was actually secretly Picard's son?
Oh, yeah.
With the way they were interacting, and like, you're Wesley.
Oh, maybe I shouldn't be a jerk to this child.
Yeah, you can hang out on the bridge.
Wait, when were you born? Exactly 9 months, slightly around the time your dad died? What?
I didn't think that before, but now I do.
I don't even care if it turns out not to be true. That's my heart canon, and I'm sticking with it because it's the only explanation.
Hey there, sport.
If they never or deny it, then it's not canon.
Thank you, Alex.
I accept that.
Oh, I forgot. In the process of the Enterprise crew trying to escape Q, they did that completely silly, let's separate the saucer.
And unnecessary.
Like, why?
We have to fill 5 minutes.
Also, it says, like, the battle bridge, but...
Yeah, there's the battle bridge, and then there's the let's get all of our family onto the saucer, which makes no sense. Wouldn't the saucer be the cool thing to, like, use as a...
That's what I thought, and what was left was way too big to be a battle bridge, and it's like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
It makes 0 sense.
Also, they did the separation at near maximum warp, and the saucer doesn't have a warp drive, I don't think, or if they do, it's probably kind of crappy.
Oh,
Well,
snap.
also they were doing that thing where it's like, this is probably not possible. Well, let's definitely do it in the first episode of the entire fucking series. At least on Voyager, when they're like, you can't go past warp 10, we have years establishing that you can't go past warp 10. And we have several, episodes worth in the show that you can't go past warp 10. And yes, this is me defending the Space Lizard episode.
Must you?
Yes, I must.
Don't do it.
Alright.
Benji agrees.
I will go to this grave saying that the Space Lizard zombie with the babies is a... I can't even go further. But story-wise, it's still better than the saucer separating.
I'm also not sure why Deanna Troi went with them. I don't know why they chose those officers to go to the battle bridge.
I don't know why Deanna Troi is on the bridge. Like, she's a counselor? Like, it'd be one thing if they had her on there specifically as counterintelligence.
That'd be badass.
Or intelligence.
Yeah.
She's there to,
Be
read
psychic.
people's mind. Yeah. But no, she's just the counselor. Like, I'm here to help you feel better about your choices. Like, no.
I literally have in my notes, why'd the therapist come with? Not that I don't love therapists. Therapy is great. Everyone should try it.
But not the away team.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the only thing I can think of is, again, bringing in DS9 when we find out that Starfleet has its own secret service type thing, even though Starfleet has for years been like, what? No, we're not like the Cardassians, the Romulans, every other single species in this entire... We don't have any secret police.
Roddenberry would not approve.
No. Maybe Section 51 or whatever the hell they were called stuck Deanna on the front. They're like, we require counselors now for the health and well-being of our people.
Are you sure about that?
And by the way, coincidentally, she also, as a bridge officer, has to write reports, which coincidentally, we will read.
Yeah.
Just putting that out there.
And just don't be concerned when she asks how you're feeling, what you're thinking.
Why did you do what you did?
What your opinions about what the direction of the Starfleet is taking are at this moment.
But remember, you're not her patient, so there is no client-patient confidentiality. That's all.
So don't mind that.
No reason, though. No reason.
Anyway, they take the ship's counselor on the away team down to Farpoint Station when everybody finally gets there, and she gets,
she senses pain.
Sorrow, right?
Such pain.
And they just keep on exploring, and there's a lot of, empty caverns underneath Farpoint Station. Weird.
Lots of empty sound stages.
Oh, yeah.
In true Star Trek tradition.
Oh, yeah.
True.
And kind of cutting ahead a little bit, because really not much happens. I mean, you have, some character introductions and a little bit of play between the characters, which, it's a pilot episode, you have to have that. But...
Are we meant to ship Deanna Troi and Riker?
They had a past.
Imzadi, you're here.
Because let me tell you, I have in my notes asking if I'm supposed to ship them, and I will only do it if Deanna tops.
Listen, no one is capable of being attracted to Riker when he's clean-shaven like that.
It does look really weird.
It is literally impossible.
So, skipping ahead a little bit, because we get, mostly just introduction to people and tech, and one Dr. McCoy awkward cameo.
Bones!
Oh, yeah.
Fuck you, I love that.
I know you love Bones, but my god, it was so
served no
racist.
purpose, but whatever.
It was so racist. I mean, and I realize that technically Vulcans aren't a real race. However...
Listen... Bones is my favorite. I will love him forever.
I'm going to bring up something that is great, though. In the same scene, I think that Bones is in, we randomly see that one engineer running around, dude in a dress.
Different scene, but...
He did it more than once, though. He's in the background of a different one. Can you tell I clocked him every single fucking time? You bet he was hot. I appreciated costume design-wise. You clearly had several options. You could be in the jumpsuit, or you could be in the go-go dress. And Crusher was in the jumpsuit. Deanna was in the go-go dress. Geordi was in the jumpsuit. Hot blonde engineer was in the go-go dress.
I got stuck on the idea of Geordi in the go-go dress.
I mean, that's an acceptable way to spend your evening. We can leave you to that.
But anyway, so a lot of faffing about happens, and lo and behold, a mysterious vessel appears in space above Deneb 4, scans the Enterprise. They try and communicate with it. Nothing's working. And what do you know? It starts firing on the planet. And I'm trying to remember, at that time, was Q starting to kind of taunt Picard there?
I believe so.
I thought that he started to taunt him after they had rescued the dude.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. So anyway, The ship is firing down in the planet. Curiously enough, at some, I think it was like an abandoned settlement by the people who built Farpoint Station, right? Wasn't that weird?
Yeah.
Almost like it has a vendetta.
What?
The away team catches up to the caretaker of Farpoint Station, who immediately gets teleported onto the other ship. Dun, dun, dun. And at that point, they track him down. Troy gets another vibe from the ship.
What?
And they manage to track down the caretaker on the other ship, get him freed, and cut to the Enterprise bridge where Q is like,
you should
taunting.
Totally shoot that ship.
Yeah, shoot that ship.
Shoot the ship.
Yeah,
that's what you guys do, right?
Because you want
you're
to.
That's what you mouth breathers do, right?
And Picard's like, no, fuck you, that's a living being. And then shoots energy down to Farpoint Station, and it's revealed that both Farpoint Station and the other ship were actually giant space squid.
Jellyfish! They were space jellyfish!
Yeah.
And that was the Star Trek that I was looking for! I was like, yes! This is Star Trek! Weird jellyfish in space! Everything I ever wanted.
It was very TOS.
It was! That's why I loved it.
And I think at that point Q gives Picard a stay on the judgment or something like that. Like, oh, we'll be watching you. Ha.
Every step you take.
Well, and I think that's
every ship you break.
That, and a little bit beforehand, was the beginning of Hugh's vast crush on Patrick Stewart, which is, I think reasonable.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He didn't really get over Patrick Stewart until he was on Voyager.
Even then.
No, because it's actually quite clear when you watch DS9, he was not over him. And then, he meets Catherine Janeway, who has even less patience than every other character combined. And he's like, wow.
Well, I have in my notes, I wonder if my thought, why not try making out with Q is because I know too much about Q.
So yeah, so I guess before we go into things, what did you guys think of the episode?
I was so bored. until I got towards the end with Farpoint Station, figuring that out.
They peaked at the trial, and it was just kind of.
Oh god, I hated the trial.
They flatlined into boring.
Yeah,
I was only interested in Q.
I was.
Like for me, it was a little bit jarring to have the two plot lines, and as a result, because there was no like real compelling connective tissue between the plot lines, it felt a little drawn out in the middle, a little boring.
Well, I think that the tags they were throwing in to make you interested in the story are very much a leftover of television before it was really serialized in America.
Mm-hmm.
Because all the you have to keep watching for the next episode tags depend on, first of all, this is Star Trek, so you want to see more space squid, which is valid. And also,
Yeah.
there are mysteries with these characters. Let's find out what the mysteries are. So it's all about the characters, which is great. I love all about the characters. However, what you see later in DS9 and Voyager is that a big part of the draw of what's next episode is what happens in the overarching story that all these characters have to live in. And you don't see that in Next Gen. Because all we're getting is what they have to live in is the setting. They don't have to live in a story.
So it's like one of those weird cases of Monster of the Week dailies not really being good. Like, it's the opposite of X-Files in that regard.
Yeah, actually, I feel like X-Files is a really interesting case as a transition from Monster of the Week to serialized, and you can really see the ups and downs of both methods of storytelling by studying the X-Files. But that's a different episode.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. But yeah,
man.
do we want to start going into our story edits, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, I have one.
Oh, you
hey,
do?
Go for it, man. Go for it.
Starting strong, Al.
Yeah. Right. First, Axis Space Squid. Like,
What?
Okay.
Oh, you and I are going to have a fight.
yeah.
For one thing, they are jellyfish.
You're right. Space jellyfish. Axis space jellyfish.
It's going to come at you.
And second, I'm just going to change a lot of character motivation and reasons for being on the Enterprise and what it's doing here. Because we all just kind of get and we're here. We're here on the D.
Yes, I too would like to be on the D.
Let's hop on that.
Let's take a ride on that D.
Why are you doing this bit? We're going to die.
I'm sorry, I thought we were on the Orville.
Sorry. I've actually had this kind of theory about the Enterprise D. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like let's put all the officers that we don't like but aren't bad enough to actually post to Siberia on a ship and just have them go away. Because Captain Picard I get the feel that he is a retired on duty kind of captain.
Uh-oh.
Oh, man, you are going to get angry letters.
But that would have been an awesome setup if it had been clear. Like, if that was, like, what you were doing.
Yeah, because, while it says we're exploring new space, they have families on that ship. They're not expecting any danger.
Wait a second. That is actually what Benjamin Sisko was supposed to be. Or rather, that's what he is in the beginning of DS9. Mm-hmm. He's busy having post-traumatic stress regarding the death of his wife at the hands of Borg, which, is fair. And he has tried to find the least interesting / exciting post in the known universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he ends up at DS9.
Oops.
Space Siberia.
Yeah, and he's happy about it, and his son is very much not.
So anyway, Al.
Captain Picard, because he is a gentleman officer. A gentleman captain.
Is he an officer and a gentleman?
Yes, he is.
Thank you.
Send him to places, have him be diplomatic, low stress. He was wild in his youth, but he's calmed down now.
I want a series about that. Go on.
Also on that ship, we also have various pilot programs. The counselor on the bridge. Data. Have Worf, the Klingon officer, have them be over there, see how it works. If it doesn't, good. Nothing blew up.
Okay.
And we also have Riker, who is clearly a guy vying for, admiralcy later, faster than he should.
Oh, I thought that he was clearly the guy with too many HR complaints.
That too. Post him under Picard. He'll go nowhere.
Oh.
Oh, with the Beta Z, who can be like, nope, writing that down. Nope. Writing that down.
Yeah.
The Beta ZX. Oh.
And so we have all these clearly flawed. They're only on that ship because we didn't want them on Earth.
We didn't want them near any of the important stuff.
You know what this plot is, Al?
What?
Have you ever watched The Irresponsible Captain Tyler?
I keep on starting and I keep on stopping, but...
You should watch it.
Yeah. And then all this group of folk then run into that last person that should run into them. Q.
I'm going to test all of humanity on what is clearly a representative sample, and I choose you.
Oh, this ship. It's out here in the middle of nowhere. Doesn't seem to be busy. Hey.
Yep.
Your sample size is small and you should feel bad.
Oh, yeah.
Your chief doctor keeps dragging her teenage kid everywhere, and he is utterly,
He's making a scene.
And he's still traumatized from that time he found like a dead body in Maine and brought all his friends to go look at it. Thank you.
Yeah, so see where it goes from there, and we can also see, from this episode, the retired Captain Picard get that old fire back.
How Jean-Luc got his groove back.
Yep.
Yeah, it is.
Nice.
And that way the series can be about growth instead of,
Explorers.
Instead of, okay, now quick, let's tell the audience that we can do a neat thing with our ship. Okay, ready? And no good reason, separate.
Okay, and we're back to the status quo, and nothing has happened.
That's true. At the end of the episode, nothing has happened except that they've all become closer as a crew.
Yep.
Do they ever separate the ship again, ever in the series?
I think so.
They do it in a movie.
Yeah, well, okay.
Yeah, there we go.
And in the movie, it made sense. Wait, I might be thinking of, because it was hot as hell when it happened in the reboot when they separated. But.
Wait, did they separate in the?
They did. In the most recent movie, they're doing a big battle scene and they separate and, wait, maybe they don't separate on purpose.
No, they don't separate on purpose.
No.
Oh, Kat.
Listen, okay?
You tried so hard.
You're asking a lot of me
far.
here. Like
and in the end, it didn't even matter.
And
Yeah, so...
I can't wait to tell you guys my rewrite.
Right. I'm done, so go ahead.
Well, do we have any questions for Alex first before we move on?
Yeah, go ahead.
My question, Alex, is why are you so awesome?
Because I am. Though Pip, I did act your space squid.
You know what?
And because you said it was awesome, that means that you agree with his opinion. The end.
No. Fuck both of you. Space squid, space jellyfish are the best.
So, Al, I have a quick question for you. What does Q think of Data there in your thinking, your musings? Because Data is not really a representative of humanity, so what's up with that?
I don't know. He's like, oh, the humans have made a toy.
And also, he is representative because he, of course, was created by these, and so by their works ye shall know them.
Ooh. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, pretty much.
Deep.
Thank you. Listen.
Right. Okay. I just wanted more from the characters, and we are all noble here.
We're all friends.
Yeah.
We're all friends.
There's a really low-stress environment. Counselor Troy. Make sure to write that on your...
On your report.
But no, you understand, like, the pilot... What I mean by pilot programs,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because we had 3 on that ship. Counselor Troy, Data, and Worf.
Fair.
Totes.
Yeah.
No, I think that makes a ton of sense. I would watch that show.
All right, so moving on then.
Boom.
Kat, you wanted to go.
I did. Much like Alex, I'm axing the space squid. I love them. I'm not gonna lie. I do love them.
If you loved them, you'd know they were jellyfish.
Fair.
We love alliteration.
You know what? I don't think they're squid or jellyfish. I think that they're, what's it called? Troglodytes?
Anemones?
No. Those, like a horseshoe crab, but like from 60 billion years ago.
Oh, yeah, those are,
Trilobites.
Yeah, trilobites, yeah.
I think they're space trilobites. And I stand by that. So anyway, listen. We can save them for another day. To be fair, they are a great their purpose is a great set piece. It shows that, look at us, we have really cool special effects now. We don't have to rely just on styrofoam and rubber. But
we will anyway, but...
We will. I mean, yeah, obviously. But sometimes we can really push the budget. But I do want to bring Q more to the forefront. And actually what I want to do is ground this more in that time traveling thing Q was doing. So we got sort of a sped up version. We see different variants of human exploration or military. It's hard to tell if, I'm sorry, what?
No, I'm just realizing that Q's thing made me think of... That's right, Captain Picard. There was a costume shop right here 2,000 years ago.
I mean, I think that more clarity would have been good. So I guess he's Columbus at some point, and that's not a military figure. It would have been cool if he'd been a military figure and kept on that sort of, humans have always been martial. And anything that you think is exploration is actually just an excuse for war and terror.
Well, actually, that's really fitting for Columbus.
I mean, yes, but because that's the end result, but I don't think he was actually a member of, for instance, the Royal Navy. He was just a dude who had money from the crown. But anyway.
Remember, the Federation is not a military operation.
Well, no, but Q could be making a point. They could be lying about themselves. This is who you've always been. This is who you're going to be. You are a violent, militaristic society, and even when you think you're not, you still are.
So the Columbus thing still works.
Fuck you. So anyway, that was really strong, and I apologize. Anyway, so what I'd like to do is I'd like to actually do more of that time travel thing that Q was doing, and I realize that's a bit of a gamble to do in a opening of a science fiction future
called Star Trek.
Yeah, because this was I think this was a big test, too. I mean, original series had only had the 3 seasons, and the third one wasn't that great. And, then we had years and years and years of no Star Trek. And so, you had to deal with nerds possibly being unhappy, definitely being unhappy, with the reboot.
There were some interesting production hurdles that had to be overcome, yes.
So, I mean, the story I'm suggesting is a gamble in terms of actual, viability for the show that needed to happen. That being said, I think it could have been done. You have not 2 hours, you have an hour 40 minutes?
Hour and a half, yeah.
If you have 2 episodes. And with that, you can introduce all the characters. And what you can do is, instead of having their adventure be let's figure out the mystery of Farpoint, you can have this omnipotent being show up and start fucking around with their perceptions and their environment. And there's lots of ways you could do that. Let's say, maybe he doesn't have to bring everybody into the past like we see. Maybe, different areas of the ship have suddenly transformed into odd time periods. Maybe there are historical figures wandering around a la and not funny Bill and Ted. And so confusing the playing field as to where and or who the quote unquote villain is. I mean, I think there's a lot of really cool things you could have done, and the point of that is to establish that this is perhaps a more cerebral show than the original, which is, I'm not saying that the original wasn't, but maybe if they're trying to go for a more, we're not aiming towards a Western in space. We're aiming toward more high concept science fiction.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think at this point in TV history, the Western had fallen out of favor, so it makes sense to try and do something a little bit different.
And it gives you a great chance to show off your costume department. It gives you a great chance to show off your budget. And you could have, ships from... And it could have been a nice tie-in moment because, for instance, outside the ship, you could have had one of the old-class Enterprise pop up and be a demonstration of that time period that Q's by the way, you had all these fights with the Klingons. Ha ha ha. You weren't all that nice even when you were being Starfleet. And then you could still do the same, how do we solve this problem? Let's blow everything up. Wait, no. Let's find out what's actually...
Wait, what would they blow up? I'm kind of confused on that point.
Make up something.
Where's the central conflict?
The central conflict is, damn it, Brendan. You're making me have something. Okay, I got one. Central conflict. Remember when I said that there was the, Enterprise outside as well? There's also old school Klingon ship. And this helps introduce the idea that the Klingon with the weird bumpy forehead that we see on the thing is the same kind as, we don't have to have lots of question about what the hell is going on with Worf.
They don't talk about that.
Yeah, they don't talk about that. That was anyway.
Pilot program.
But what, so it could be an old school fight with what they assume to be an old school Klingon, and they're not, the Klingons are, posturing and they're shooting them. Heck, maybe they're even doing damage. But actually, this is all a perception, whatchamacallit, by Q. And maybe what's actually out there is,
a school bus.
A school bus. Yeah, school bus in space. Or the equivalent thereof. And what they have to do is fight their baser urges to, just fight and kill the enemy and figure out what's really going on. And maybe there's other shit going on. But the point is, I like maintaining that whole putting humanity on trial. I just think that should be the point of it. And I think there could have been a lot of cool ways to expand upon it while maintaining the theme of this is an omnipotent creature that can manipulate time and space. It's the Doctor.
Oh man. The Doctor versus Q. That's a philosophical debate for another time.
That fanfic has to already exist.
Oh, undoubtedly.
Guys, I don't want to, we'll talk about it later. It's fine.
Cat.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Cat,
Yeah.
is there something you want to tell us?
Anyway, Pip, Al, do you have any thoughts on Cat's premise here?
Do you?
Like, I'll start. I think it's interesting. I just worry it's, as written, a little bit too high in concept for a pilot.
For a pilot, and that's really where the difficulty comes in.
Yeah.
My story's thing is basically going to be a response to hers, which is...
Okay, wow.
Nothing?
Oh, that seems like a transition if I've ever heard one.
Yeah, go ahead. I have nothing to say.
Okay. So, the trial of humanity.
And the space squids. Thank you,
Benji
Benji.
agrees with me.
No, he agrees with me.
Hey, go on.
Go on.
The trial of humanity is really a season-long arc.
Ooh.
If not a series long.
I mean...
You can't fit that into one episode. It was ridiculous of them to try. Which is why the main story should be the space squid. Fuck you. And by squid, I mean jellyfish. Fuck you again for making me do that.
Pip, it's okay. Alliteration is your friend.
Ugh, alliteration can bite me. So anyway, we have the space jellyfish be sort of the main story arc. And look, it's like the Star Trek, and we start overlaying these, higher questions. What is the nature of humanity? Which, in TOS's defense, they also occasionally talked about.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I think that being a Western space was a very clever way of sticking in, here's a bunch of social commentary, woo!
What? Listen, when you have Nazis in space, there's the inevitable question of how much have we really
Battled
changed?
by the two Jewish actors.
Yeah. So yeah, we start overlaying, those ideas, just sort of introducing them. Mm-hmm. In that, not everyone on the ship is human, like they were in TOS. Except for Spock, who is only half human.
Yeah.
So, and cause we have, Data, who is an android, which is just rife with, what is, humanity. We have Worf, who is a Klingon, but a Starfleet officer first. So then, is humanity what we do?
Ooh.
Yeah, what? And we have Counselor Troy. Is humanity what we feel?
Oh my god, are you getting thematic?
What?
Ooh.
And so we have all these things, and we don't introduce Q until, episode 3 or 4.
Could we have, maybe weird hints?
No.
God damn it.
Because Q is a huge deal.
He is.
And we want to introduce the universe before we go fucking around with it.
That's like good writing advice. I'm not sure I can handle that.
Listen, sometimes I know what I'm doing.
Sometimes.
And so, yeah, that's what I do. I make it tighter to create the building blocks so that Q can actually be an effective storytelling device, and we can have the larger metaphor. And if I really want to start fucking around with things, I make Dr. Crusher the main character instead of Captain Picard.
Ooh.
But that's just me going, why can't we have a female lead? And I think it'd be fascinating to have it be the Doctor, who sees everything.
But comments on little.
Listen, she isn't supposed to. That's confidential information. And so, yeah. And because in TOS, Bones was sort of the heart of the Enterprise. Fuck off, he was. The sort of triumvirate of Kirk, Spock, and Bones. Bones was the one who led with his heart.
I thought there was like a thing of like the id versus the superego and the ego.
I don't know. All I know is that there was an opportunity there to make a joke about what Kirk led with, and none of you all took it.
It was the Enterprise D!
I'm trying to be an adult.
Sorry, I was just imagining Doc McCoy with the heart ring from Captain Planet.
What kind of bullshit power is heart anyway? Anyway, and so then we could have Dr. Crusher
Crushing it.
Yes! And yeah, no, so how I would really, sort of mess with the whole thing is have Dr. Crusher being the main character, because I think that'd be great. But actually, laying down groundwork for actual thematic things, to use a technical term. And then we have aggression from Tasha Yar. And Geordi just being amazing.
Metal as fuck!
And we can have stories about people with disabilities.
Ooh.
It'd be great if they were played by people with disabilities.
This is the 90s, come now. Or is it 80s?
Late 80s. Anyway, go on.
But yeah, I think that there is a paper there, about the Enterprise D crew and their roles in what humanity is.
Fair.
Okay. And that's a really interesting, switch from my talking about how, instead of focusing on the changes of the characters to these, what is the story that they're all being thrust into. You're like, no, let's stick with what's going on with the characters.
Okay. The characters are what's going to take you to where you're going. They're the ones having to deal with all the shit.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Al, do you have anything for Pip there?
No. I'm just really chilling. Also, I'm really hot and tired, so,
Mm-hmm.
For the record, when given the opportunity to ask a question, I gave you a compliment.
Oh,
I gave you a compliment, Pip.
You're awesome, Pip.
Thank you, Alex.
Okay. Yeah, I like that as a concept. I like having characters be representative of humanity's various aspects, and then that gives you kind of like a nice stylistic cheat sheet, as it were, for their characterizations early on and how they grow over time. So that's what I think you mentioned, like Tasha Yar there. She goes at it. She's aggressive, but maybe over time, by learning from the other characters, she learns to temper that temper. Haha. And then maybe all the while there, you have Data just more or less being a sponge, learning everything about humanity. And the culmination of the series could be like more or less what happened in the show, which is like Data becoming more or less humanish.
I don't know. That's starting to sound a lot like a passion play, like the not old-fashioned, but the earliest forms of theater where there was every man as the character, and that's Data. And then you had all these other characters that were basically just personifications of feelings or sins or virtues, as the case may be, because it was a passion play.
Why not?
All right, but is that sustainable for 7 seasons?
Sure.
If that's what you're starting off with, and then as you write things grow and change.
What?
But then, whenever you feel like you're losing track, okay, what is my thesis statement here?
Ooh.
What?
Themes.
So I think it's my turn, right?
It is.
Indeed.
You're last on the chopping block.
You know what? I'm gonna change things up a little bit, and I'm gonna change the entire premise of the series kind of similar to what Al did.
Fair enough.
What I'm changing here, I'm twisting the idea. I'm still stuck on this. I'm twisting the idea of families on the ship because I think that is frickin' weird. Instead, the ship is more or less Starfleet Academy semester at sea. It's a mobile Starfleet Academy where you take maybe some of the best and brightest, or at least the most interesting students.
And Wesley. I didn't want to be that person who just makes fun of Wesley, but then I met the character.
Oh, yeah.
But maybe this could work.
Wait. Oh my god, it's Red Squad.
Wait, didn't that end horribly
I don't remember.
for the Red Squad?
They ended up being a part of an insurrectionist movement in Starfleet by accident.
It happens to the best of us.
So true.
So yeah, anyway, we have this mobile Starfleet Academy. Jean-Luc Picard is still there, except now he has a lot of conflicting emotions about him. Because on the one hand, it's a prestigious enough thing. I mean, you're working to teach the best and brightest Starfleet has to offer. It's an honor. That's what they tell him. But he was kind of imagining going off and exploring the galaxy. But here we are doing diplomatic missions with the Ferengi because Poli-Sci 201 has to have their credit hours.
I don't know. You could pass it. You could twist it up with Alex's and make it so that this is what retirement is supposed to be. And he's like, I wasn't quite ready to retire yet.
Yeah, it's a resentful retirement, not something he was going for. Because I was thinking there's that little bit of that angle, but then also the character can maybe feel a little insecure. I was tapping into how he's like, absolutely no kids on the bridge, ha! Moment there. Because I kind of feel like if I'm the captain of this ship that's a mobile academy, then there's going to be kids on there that are very clearly smarter than I am in many different topics. And that's going to be a little weird as a grown-ass adult in need of learning something about himself. And I think that could be pretty cool. And you could still have all the other main characters there. You could have Riker, the headstrong first officer, and just loving being the role model for the kids. That's why he always does like the Riker poses and tries to be grows the beard in the second season because he hears that makes him look more mature than the students that are pushing 20.
Or maybe he had a position already and then he kind of fucked it up. So, they're grounding him temporarily, teaching him, some humility.
Something like that.
Also, who here was kind of creeped out by the Riker or Wesley interaction when they first met? Just
Oh,
him.
God.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the smile.
Are we sure Riker isn't the father?
No,
it looked more like he was sounding out to see whether or not Wesley was for sale. That's
So that's kind of where I'm leaping off from. I'm a little conflicted because I like the concept of having the characters be like representatives of humanity because I think that kind of lends some nice narrative, a narrative through line for the entire series. And, so we might have like the Q plot there, but I'm thinking we could probably save Encounter at Farpoint for just like your standard episode and all the kids learn a valuable lesson. But I'm thinking maybe, instead we could have a confrontation. Maybe why Q was stopping them in the first place from getting out there is if they were to cross where Q blocked them in the first place, on the other side, maybe there's a Romulan expedition force and they're claiming that this area of open space is their territory now. And so now they have to do this extremely delicate diplomatic negotiation. And oh, by the way, you might be judged as warmongery by
Space God.
By Space God. So that's this one line there. And the other through line I kind of wanted to accent with this was the notion of maybe taking literally the title of the series, where it's Star Trek The Next Generation. Because not only is Picard the next generation from the original TOS cast, so the bridge crew and all that next generation of Star Trek there, but they are actively training the next generation of captains.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And also maybe not have Wesley be the Uber kid right at the beginning of the series.
Yeah.
Give some learning.
Though, have him be an arrogant fuck.
He'd fit right in with Riker.
Guys, I actually didn't think he was that annoying in the first episode.
Nah.
He was just a kid being all like, hi, how's it going? Hi.
You're all my role models. Yeah.
Weirdly, I would have been kind of into it if they played him like a Scooter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, Mr. Picard.
My dad owns this ship.
I can do helm stuff, and I can do cartwheels. Which one do you want me to see me do?
Get off the bridge, Wesley. I'll do cartwheels off the
You
bridge.
can be a gopher. I'll pay you $5 a week. Go get my coffee.
Right away, sir.
Yes, sir. See, I would have been down with that, actually.
Oh, that could have been pretty funny.
I like Scooter.
I mean, this just makes me want to rewatch The Muppet Show, but, whatever.
Oh, yeah. See, yeah, that's me. That's my take on it. Do you guys have any questions?
I don't really have questions. I'm more wondering, did we come up with something that we can actually agree on as a superior change? Or are we really thinking, there are a lot of good solutions, just not what we watched?
I think it's the latter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we agreed that what we watched, it didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
It was just stretched too much between two different separate plot lines.
I think we agreed that one thing needed to go.
Yeah.
In concept, they both work independently, but just not together. The glue wasn't there.
Yeah.
And it could have been. I mean, that's the thing. The taunting at the end did tie together quite nicely. But knowing what I know now, the part where they didn't actually
do all that much.
Well, no, the part where they weren't actually written simultaneously, to be part of one cohesive story. I mean, kudos to the writers for getting it to tie up nicely at the end. However, when you're lacing together something, it needs to be a little closer than that. Otherwise, you're just showing way too much skin.
Yeah. Maybe they could have worked on adding Q to more scenes interstitially.
Mm.
Or they could have not done I'll say it, they could have not done the time travel thing. He wanted to be a judge or whatever, that's cool, but that's also very, very different from we're working on this station issue. We're working on
the trial did nothing for me.
I only liked it because I thought it was the best acted part of the show.
But actually, that's a good point. It was a huge thematic shift between the trial stuff and this encounter at Farpoint stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, everything just felt different.
Yep.
I mean, if you wanted to do a really simple change and keep everybody, all the things that we all like, you could have just not had that weird shift in time or basically you could have just gotten rid of my entire expanded idea. Get rid of time travel, get rid of that whole humanity's past predicts their future, particularly since it's a little weird for an omnipresent alien to have an understanding of the past versus the future. I mean, unless he's just doing it to dick around, which to be fair, he might be.
Yeah, it's still possible.
But I think removing that element would have brought it all tied closer together, and then you could still have kept your space, not squid.
Jellyfish.
Thank you.
Jellyfish.
Space jellyfish. You could have kept Q, and it would have been tighter.
Yeah.
Cool. So, guys, do you think we have time for a brief game?
So, I'm thinking for a game, we should do the character that would be king.
Cheater.
Wherein we make a secondary character primary. And in no way am I suggesting this, so I can cheat and do the thing I already said.
Are you gonna
which is make Diana Crusher the main character.
Beverly.
Cause shit! Diana Troy Beverly Crusher.
Deanna.
Listen, all I'm saying is that maybe they should make
wow.
out.
Or we should have a Tuvix situation. Is that what you're saying?
Why you gotta be this way?
Wait, anyway, Dr. Crusher.
Dr. Crusher, as said before, crushing it. She's on this new ship. Her maybe ex-boyfriend is here. I don't know. It was weird. They had a vibe, but it was right after her husband died, and he's the one who told her. It was super weird. It's super awkward, but whatever. She can do this.
Not going to tell him about Wesley. You're going to tell him about Wesley, but not going to tell him about Wesley.
Her son's there. He's a bit awkward, but she loves him. She's a working mother. And she is taking care of this ship and everyone on it in the best way.
I was picturing Scrubs in space.
She can't do it all on her own. No, she knows. She's no cute person. Actually, what's the Star Trek version of Superman?
It's not.
I feel like I should know the answer, but I don't. But yeah, no, that's me. Let's make Dr. Crusher.
Wait.
The main character.
Okay,
she's better than other people.
Also, I just got hunted. No, she knows. She's no hologram.
Good job.
Yeah. So Beverly Crusher?
Nice.
Yeah, that's all I have to say. Beverly Crusher, crushing it.
Okay.
Beverly Crusher, crushing it.
I think I can, I think I can do you better.
Okay.
Tasha Yard.
Security officer.
Yeah. Like, she's, what's her position on the bridge?
Security officer.
First day on the job, and there's a fucking queue. Like, he's here to judge humanity, but you know what she has? Fists.
She doesn't know if he has testicles, but she's willing to find out.
He's here to judge humanity. She's here to punch him in the face.
Yeah. Kick people enough that you'll find something.
Oh.
Side note, Tasha Yar, Yar from home.
Also, focus on her aggression, and hey, deal with that shit. We're busy here representing humanity. We kind of don't need that right now. But she's like, I think we need it right now.
I was gonna say, for mine, I was just jokingly thinking just now, Ensign Barclay, who hasn't shown up yet, but he's fun. What I'm thinking is, I'm gonna play to brand here. I'm gonna go for Geordie LaForge.
Of course.
Because you know what? Starfleet engineers, they are magic.
Yeah.
And I just love to see, like, for me, it'd be kind of like an engineering Star Trek version of The Office. So you have, like, everybody else in engineering with all their quirks, because, of course, engineers have quirks. And Geordie, the long-suffering chief engineer, has to deal with his team. But you know what? If you motivate them just right, they can pull off damn near anything.
She can't take any more, Captain. And in their heads are like, I know exactly how much more she can take.
She can take at least 10% more, but we don't tell him that. Never tell him that.
If we did that, we'd have to turn off the still.
That will not stand. They have Margarita Mondays in the engineering room. They try to hide it from the bridge crew because they're a bunch of squares.
The bridge crew would ruin it.
They would.
How have we gone through an entire Star Trek episode, by the way, and not referenced Banned from Argo?
Oh, man.
The greatest of all Star Trek parody songs, because it's so true.
Yeah. Listeners, if you haven't listened to Banned from Argo, find it and then listen to it.
Do yourself a favor.
That's more TOS, isn't it?
It is, but it's still amazing.
It's applicable, I feel, to any major space opera.
So, Kat.
Okay, so it's always been a big... Back when Voyager was actually on air, there's an archive that somebody put together that was all about basically the characters you don't get to see. It's not bridge crew. It's, the random engineers, the random security officers, and just like what their lives are like when all this random bullshit's going on. And I've always been very fascinated by that ever since, and I've always wanted to do something like that. And then John Scalzi beat me to it with Red Shirts.
Good book.
Scalzi's awesome.
Yeah, there you go. But one of the things that I wanted to do was that even on Voyager, when they're like, oh no, the doctor's sick or whatever, what was there always? There was always a medical team available. There are people on board, the science division. there's always medical people around. So what I've always wanted to do, and I would love to do that with, let's say with TNG, is have the story based on, I want the EMTs, the space EMTs. What do they do? Do they have shifts? You know, what do they do when there's no doctor around? Do they have to sit around? Do they have special rules? Are they cross-trained so that, like, when they're not around, they can go do other stuff, like be with the engineers? Do they have access to excess oxygen? And do they use it for their parties?
You know they do.
I'm also just imagining, like, they have, like, little war stories. It's like, oh, God, guys, I just went on the worst cleanup of an away team. Oh, sentient fire. That's all I'm going to say.
But here's the thing. Today, our policies with regard to emergency medical workers is that you don't go into an unsecured situation because you don't want to add to the casualty count. And this is why it makes total sense that they never go on away missions. What they do is they hang out by the transporter. They're there with frankly, from what I've seen, really not particularly good back braces. And, you know, oxygen or whatever. And they all have to have, like, the different kinds of chemicals. And it would be cool if on TNG, like, maybe they're sitting around being really stressed out because they have a Vulcan and a Beta Z, so they have to have go bags that are enormous.
Okay. So Kat's suggestion is the Starfleet medical crew. Okay. So, that was Star Trek, you guys.
Yeah.
Well, TNG.
Oh man, I forgot to ask my question.
What was your
question?
Do you think library science falls under communication or the sciences? Are they red shirts or blue shirts going with the TOS coloring?
They're engineers. They're yellow.
Yellow shirts, Pip.
I'm going to go with blue.
Wow.
I'm going to have
Science team.
We could just say their command and, like, move on from there. So, like, you could have a librarian captain if everyone else died.
Captain Librarian.
I mean, to be fair, that's how Bones has to be captain. He can't be, he outranks most everybody, but he can't be captain. Because he's on a different line of...
And he's not bitter about that.
Oh no, he's happy about that.
If I've ever seen a man who doesn't want command, it is Dr. McCoy.
And on that point, as always, if you have a story to submit, head on over to nostoriessacred.com/submission. Follow us on Twitter at nostoriessacred, or send an email through contact@nostoriessacred.com. Your hosts have been Alex McDonald, Brendan McDonald, Pippin McDonald, and Catherine Crichton. Editing for this episode done by Brendan. Transcript done by Ashley DaCosta. Art by Jade Wolf. Show notes and transcript are available at nostoriessacred.com. Thanks for listening, everyone, and please rate, review, and subscribe to No Story Sacred. You can also visit our Patreon page to support the show and get neat rewards at patreon.com/nostoriessacred. See you next time when we talk about another story idea by Kat.
Sorry, was that too evil?
Yeah, just a little.
Not evil enough.
Until then, where no story is sacred and any story can be changed, I'm Alex.
I'm Kat.
I'm Brendan.
And I'm Pippin.
And we're
No
Story is Sacred.
Sacred.